This is Let's Talk Business with your hosts, Marc Ebinger and Howie Nestel. Now, here's Marc.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business, a show that highlights and promotes entrepreneurs to learn more about their vision, goals, and marketing strategy. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about the challenges that job seekers face in the employment market these days. In studio with us today is Maria Calvillo, the owner of MarCal Professional Recruiting. Maria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Marc. It's so good to be here. I'm super excited. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were already having fun even before the cameras came on, right? Yes. Good time. All right, I'm your host, Marc Ebinger, the owner of Krukus Virtual Staffing, a company that specializes in hiring skilled virtual assistants from outside the United States.
And I'm Howie Nestel, the owner of Sharkmatic Advertising, a company that is serious about big results. We help small clients grow big through digital marketing.
Love it. A quick reminder to follow the Let's Talk Business podcast on all major podcast platforms and social media, where you can catch video versions of the show. You can get to everything easily from our website at satalkradio.com. Now, if you're going to be in San Antonio on May 16th, it's a Thursday, 2024, of course. We got to say that, right? This will be up on social media forever and a day. But so May 16th on a Thursday, be sure to join us at the next Let's Talk Business Mega Business Mixer, which is a mouthful. It was just a mixer, but then when you have 150 people show up and come away with a lot of business, why not call it a mega mixer?
It becomes a mega mixer, and that's what happened. And so, Maria, what we did was we were going to limit it to 100 people and then charge $10 for each person to come so we can take that money and donate it to a nonprofit. Well, lo and behold, we sold 179 tickets.
Wow.
So we had to put the reins on it and say, okay, what happens if all 179 show up? Well, what ended up happening was we gave a check to the Children's Rehabilitation Institute for $1,790. And then we had more than 150 people attend and have margaritas and do business with each other and listen to some inspirational talks. So it was a mega mixer, hence the new name.
Wow.
A lot of fun, and we're going to do even better next time, I think. We did a great job, but let's take it up a notch on the next one, too, and just try and have more and more fun on it. All right, so if you want to come to the mixer, you can get all the information on our website at satalkradio.com. All right, Maria, so we met at a Hispanic speed networking event, correct?
First time I'd ever been to a speed networking event.
Yeah, me too.
And that was like a lot of shuffling.
And that was the Hispanic Chamber sponsored it?
Yeah, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce sponsored that. Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And you definitely, you exude this leadership quality about you, right? I mean, you stand out, you're classy, you're on purpose. And I was excited for us to have a chat about you coming on the show, and I'm glad that they got you booked. Yeah. So you've been recognized in the top 10 list for recruiters in Texas?
Absolutely.
What was the deal there?
Well, so I've had a long career in recruiting. So let me just kind of do a little sidekick here, a little sidestep to the side. Long career in recruiting prior to me starting my own recruiting business, which has now been officially 14 years. But prior to that, I was working for a prominent search firm in San Antonio for 10 years and then worked for Kelly Services for 7 years. Okay, so that was my 17-year career in recruiting. With the search firm, every year we would report our numbers to the Texas Association of Professional Consultants, and then that's where they would rank you. So in Texas, I was always in the top 20 and then in the top 10 as the years would go by. So there was a time I placed like 3rd and 5th in the state of Texas as a top recruiter in Texas, meaning the more jobs you place, they kind of look at your numbers, and that was the way the firm would give our numbers to the state of Texas, and then they would rank you. So I stayed in that rank for almost all my career of 10 years with the search firm until they sold it, and then that's when I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, right. So that leads us great into the background. So let's talk a little bit about your background, what led from where you were as an employee and then ultimately going into your own business. And now you're pivoting again. So let's see if we can crunch that into 90 seconds.
So
you said the firm was sold.
The firm was sold in 2010.
Okay.
The firm was sold. And I found myself, after already working for other companies for over a period of 17 years, I find myself going, okay, so what do I do now? So I took a little bit of time to kind of, do the soul searching, figure out if I wanted to go work for another search firm or what is it that I wanted to do? Did I really want to do that? So my husband said, you have 3 months to decide. Okay. So in this 3 months, take your time, but just remember you're going to be spending.
Take your time, but the clock is ticking.
But you're spending your own money. You're spending your savings, okay? I said, okay. So, in that period of time, I remember it was close to the 3-month period and nothing was happening. I really did not want to go work for anybody else. And I said, maybe I should be an entrepreneur. And something happened to me at that moment. There was a memory of when I was a young little girl, like maybe about 10 years old. My father said to me, what do you want to do one day when you grow up? I said, I think I want to be the CEO of my own company. And he looked at me and he said, and I come from a background where we didn't have wealth. My parents were not wealthy people. So he looked at me and he said, well, that's a big idea, a big goal. You're going to have to work really hard to get that. I said, yeah, I guess so. Left it at that. So when my time was nearing close to my 3-month expiration of what am I going to do, I said, that memory came to me. I said, maybe it's this time. Maybe it's now. And I remember taking time to do some soul searching and to praying about it and just to seeing what direction. I said, God, where do I belong? Please tell me. Give me a sign. What do I do? How do I do this? No joke, and I share this story all the time. Prayed about it in the morning, late afternoon, I got a phone call on my cell phone. And it was an employer that I had brought to the search firm. And when he called the search firm, they said they had sold it. So he contacted me on my cell phone. He said, Maria, what's going on? They sold the company? What do you mean? And so I gave him a lowdown really quick. And he goes, what are you going to do? I said, I just don't know. I'm kind of in a quandary. He goes, well, I'll tell you what. Here you go. I need to hire 4 different positions, so we want you to do it. So I don't know. I don't care what you do. Find me the candidates, email them to me. He's in Victoria, Texas. Email them to me, and I'll hire them from you. And there you go. That's what you can do right now. I said, okay. So I went downtown, put a business name, called Career Builder, told them, can you give me 30-day billing? They said yes. I found all the candidates, placed them, and the rest was history. So I started in 2010. Up until 2020, which was 10 years of solid assisting employers throughout Texas, in San Antonio, placing people to different kinds of positions all across the board. And then in 2020, COVID happened. So then I have to figure out, COVID changed a lot of things. All of the employers I had done business with were now working from home, managers, hiring authorities, VPs, everyone had gone home to work. So I was getting calls. I was getting statements like, for right now, we're going to freeze all our positions. We're not going to do any hiring right now because we're trying to navigate the changes. We may be reorganizing departments. People were being laid off. We don't need all this people here. Everyone's working from home. So this happened all of 2020. All of 2020, we were going through this. There was really not a lot of things I was doing in 2020. 2021 rolls around. Business picked up a little bit, but not like it had been for 10 years, for solid 10 years of just this bonanza of a lot of work.
So, by the way, from 2010 to 2020, did you ever make the top 10 or top 20 in Texas? While you were
say that again.
self-employed? Well, from 2010 to 2020, you were kind of on your own, right?
No, I didn't because I was small. I was my own business now, and I did not report those numbers anymore since I wasn't working for a search firm.
But how were your numbers, though?
Oh, they were very good. They were super
compared to
good.
how when you worked for somebody
they
else?
were just super good because I had a following. I mean, I had employers I could go back to and call and continue to do work.
Yeah.
So my numbers stayed consistent.
And since this is a business podcast, did you have any kind of non-compete with a company that had been sold, or all that was null and void?
It was null and void
sold?
once the company was sold. Once the company was sold, it was null and void. I was a free agent, could do whatever I wanted to do.
So, okay, let's go back to 21 then, Maria. And you said now there's some movement, things are starting to happen.
Yep.
Was that the great migration when people were leaving the workforce and didn't want to work and just taking government money and hanging out?
Absolutely. That's exactly what was going on. Everybody was just hanging out. Nobody really wanted to go to work. And even if I was calling candidates for a possible job, oh, well, if it's not remote, I'm not interested. And at that time, things were remote, okay? But as you started going back into office, the challenges occurred. People don't want to go back to the office, and we are struggling with that even now. Some positions are hybrid still, but employers really want to put people back to work in the office. I don't know if they'll be successful doing it between 2025 and 2026, but for now, they're not. So the challenge is still there. So I'm in 2021 right now, still struggling, trying to figure out. There's still companies are not fully back. Positions are still somewhat frozen. All the higher level positions are at a standstill. You've got a lot of positions to fill in hospitality and things of this nature, but that's not my focus. My focus was direct hire professional positions. So I started thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? Where do I go now? How do I pivot?
Yeah, and that's when this this change has come about, which I think is a very necessary change, and maybe even broader than, I'm curious to get into this because maybe broader than what you've considered. So what is this change? What's this pivot now that you're doing?
So the pivot is, as I pondered, changing, growing, and I'm that person that growth is always something that is a part of me. So if I feel stuck, I'm going to try to figure out, okay, why am I stuck and where do I need to go? And I felt stuck. In that 2021 into 22, I felt really stuck. And then I started evaluating, okay, what can I do? And I realized during that time, I'm still getting people that always say to me, oh, call Maria. You know, she can help you. She can help you. You know, she knows recruiting. She can help you. Oh, you can't find a job? Call her. So all this stuff started coming back into my memory. And I thought, wait a minute, I have all this knowledge. Let me write it down. I journal a lot. So I started writing everything down. And the vision came. Pivot into career coaching. Build your business model around that. I hired a business coach last year in November. I hired a business coach. We sat, we talked, we built the strategy. The website is being created right now. We will launch it in March. Everything's happening. All the moving pieces are working, and we're creating the business concept, the models for each one of those different types of options we will offer the candidate. And so coaching came into play. Use all of your coaching techniques because you coached many, many, many candidates over the years who were hired, and those who didn't get hired still continue to come back to me to help them when they would go on a job interview. Can you help me prepare for this job interview? I'm really nervous. Can you help me? Or how do I go to my boss and ask him to give me a raise? I've been here for 5 years and I'm being overlooked. I like my job.
We had a host that talked about being underpaid for years.
Yes.
Because he was deathly afraid of asking for more money.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a friend of his pushed him into doing it, actually wrote the request letter and said, I'm about to hit send. And he was so nervous for his friend to push send, did it. The company called within 5 minutes, offered him $23,000 or $24,000 more.
Wow. And he was underpaid that many years. A lot of people are, and they're afraid. They don't know how to ask for that money. They don't know. They feel undervalued. So as a coach, I help them, and I help assess with them, where are the weaknesses? Let's cover those weaknesses. How do we overcome them? How do you overcome going into an interview confidently without sounding arrogant?
Yeah, and Maria, it sounds like you're an expert at coaching others.
Yeah.
How did you see coaching yourself into a career change and a lifestyle change?
That's a good question.
Well, you had help. You had help, right? You got a coach.
Yes, I hired a business coach. The business coach helped me build the model and help me create Coach Maria, if you would, or coaching to that next level. Because I know that that's my passion. My passion is helping people, okay? Helping people navigate whatever that might be, whether it is getting ready for an interview, helping them write a brand new resume that is not getting them in the door, helping them understand that they have qualities, they have skills, they have confidence. They just need to know how to deliver that when they go to a job interview. It's your delivery. Really, I always say that. It's, the interview is a sales pitch of who you are. It's your delivery that gets you hired or gets you to the next step in the interview.
Yeah, you said it better than I did when I was talking to my daughter this morning on the way. It's like, because she's going to be interviewing at some point because she's starting to apply for some jobs because she wants to get out into the world, right?
Right.
So that's why I think your service is very necessary. But how do you market it? How do you find who to market it to, and how do you market it to them?
So what I noticed over all these years that I've been in this industry, I have people always ask me, so what is your, what area do you work with? There's no real specific area because sometimes I can maybe talk to somebody who just graduated college because someone referred that. All of my business is referrals, believe it or not. Referrals. Call Maria. So I've been in this business for more than 20 years, so people know me already. And I say it like this: when I meet somebody, I don't know if that's just the gift that everybody's. I feel like everyone is blessed with a talent and a gift that they have. And they know what that gift is. So for me, it's like immediately when I meet somebody, it's an instant connection. It's an instant connection.
I sense it. I got it. And I got it from when we got it when we're on the Zoom.
Yeah, it's an instant connection. It's like, they feel comfortable. And sometimes they're telling me things that maybe they shouldn't tell me, but they do. And I thought to myself, that's my gift. That is the area I need to be going to because I want to help people, help you understand that you have value. You can get hired somewhere, and maybe you just don't know where it is. So you need another pair of eyes to come in, look at a resume, hear you, listen to you, and then assess where you are. You know, so
what's the goal? So what do you do in 3 years? Where are you at in 5 years?
well, hopefully in 3 years, I'm hoping to have a very well-established coaching business. Definitely. Very well-established. I don't know. Maybe write a book in 3 years. I don't know. Maybe be on stage to do a motivational speech. I don't know. That vision is huge for me. And I don't know if that will happen down the road. I'd like to start maybe do something more in a podcast where I am giving more advice, more tips, assisting people, and letting that be another source of who I am, who Maria is. And I believe that that can happen over a matter of time. Simply, again, going back to a lot of my business is referrals. And a lot of it also is between the millennials, Generation Xers, are people who are coming to me right now, heavily coming to me, especially millennials and Generation Xers are coming to me thinking, okay, I don't know, should I really make a job move at 45 years old? Maria, should I make a job move at 45 years old? And I'm thinking, well, first of all, where do you work? Let's talk about it. There's many different questions I have. I prepare questionnaires. I have several of them that I prepare that I send off before we even have a one-on-one session. That way I'm prepared to be better prepared, time management, and be able to go over every single thing with you.
And you have an insight because you've placed so many people in over the decades that you know companies, you know how much they pay, you know what positions pay and all that. So, of course, you know, asking Maria, which would be a good hashtag for you, Ask Maria, has a lot of value.
Yes.
Because somebody who's, you know, working off their sofa, getting up, you know, like wearing pajamas and then a dress shirt or a blouse, right, on Zoom.
I do that.
It doesn't know what's out there in the marketplace. And they're like, oh, should I just quit my job and just look for something else? And is it right to quit a job before you find one? Or is it better if I? So there's a lot there. I could see the value. I want to go back to you saying that you get most of your business through referrals, and that's good. And it's not just because you were in business or in the industry for 20 years. I think it's because you are uniquely qualified as an expert.
Right.
And you've helped so many people that they've gotten value that they tell you. Should not, though, coming from an advertising professional in my industry for now 30 years, shouldn't always depend on just referrals and just word of mouth. There should also be marketing, because if not, you can probably book up all your time. But how do you build a company where Maria Calvillo has employees and then the company is attracting new clients through marketing that then get distributed among your staff to free you up to write, to speak, to do your high-level networking with the big company owners?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. I mean, that you know, that when you create your vision, you know, how when you sit down and you write your vision out, you know, I look at it and think, yeah, I do truly believe that this pivot, this change is bringing on a greater change, truly, for myself, my career in business. And I do believe it will grow to the point where I will need to hire perhaps additional team members to keep going, to keep taking the business even further to free me up.
Right.
I do believe that. And I don't know, I just feel, you know, when you know you're doing something and it's there, you feel those confirmations and those affirmations coming to you. And when I sat down and started to really give this thought, within that first week, 2 weeks of what I was doing and writing it out and sitting with my business coach and going over everything, every single day I was getting like an affirmation that I was moving in the right direction. It was so strange to me. It was so like somebody out of the blue, this woman calls me. She was referred to me by someone that is a friend of mine, but we're more like an acquaintance because we're not like really close friends, but we are friends. She refers this woman to me, and the lady sends me an email and says that, you know, she's been looking for a job for about 8 months now. She is what I would call she's still a millennial. She maybe a Generation X possibly, because she's early 50s, and just got her degree. got her college education, finished it, raised 2 boys. They are in college, and she feels like, okay, it's my turn now, and I need to go do something. And she had written her resume. So I told her, well, send me your resume. So she sends it to me, and I look at it. It's a great resume. You don't need to change anything. Very well written, very well put together. Sells who you are. So what do you think the challenge is? And we did a Zoom call. So when I'm doing the Zoom call with her, I'm watching her. I'm observing her and watching her. And I told her, I think that if you're going to go on this interview that you already have set up for you, there's a couple of things you need to do. You need to bring a little bit of that spice to yourself. You don't have any spice. You need your own secret sauce. I said, and I think you know what that is. And she goes, well, I just don't know how to be confident. I don't know how to have confidence. I'm so scared. I don't know how to be confident. And I feel like I may not say the right things. Or when somebody asks me to give an example, I don't know how to give an example without going on some sort of like a field trip, and I go in another different direction, and don't really know how to stay focused. So I worked on helping her. It's funny that after that happened, she goes on a scheduled interview that she already had before her and I even spoke. She goes on this interview. They hired her on the spot. And she texts me on a Saturday. She went like on a Thursday. It was a Saturday. And she said, I'm just sending you this text message because you would not believe what happened to me. Right. After I spoke to you, there was like this fire that I didn't know I had inside of me, and it came forth. I'm reading this. I'm just like, I'm like at HEB reading this, and I'm like getting welled up with tears. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm going in the right direction. And she said, it just was like this fire that was born inside of me that I went on this interview, and I kept remembering the things you told me in my head. Sit it straight.
Something that would be, you should seriously consider doing is where you can do a Zoom and you record it. And you do these like maybe once a week. And then you just have a volunteer, right, or somebody who needs the service, but you tell them, look, I'm going to give you free coaching for this hour.
Right.
And you record the whole thing, but it's going to go on your YouTube channel, and you break it up, however you're going to break it up, and you have the whole segment, because people will connect with what you're talking about. Absolutely, they're going to see it, and they're going to go, oh my gosh, I need to talk to this person, right?
Yes.
Really good marketing strategy, in my opinion.
Okay.
But you got to pay attention to making sure the audio quality is good. Video is okay, but the audio quality has to be good. And then make sure you are careful on your editing, full, but then you go get some good cuts out of it. That would be huge. It's like, what was people would write in, Dear Abby.
Dear Abby.
Yeah.
Dear Abby. In the newspaper. The San Antonio Express
Dear
News.
Abby. That's why I said ask
different.
Maria.
Ask Maria like
exactly.
that.
So this is just a culmination of that, but I'm going to take all the credit for it. But anyway, but that's a huge opportunity because you're marketing B2C.
Yes.
Okay, so YouTube is really good for B2C, and you can create some really good content, put it up there, and that'll lead right into your book, because then you're going to have all these people that are going to, sing your praises, and you did some blah, blah, blah. And the only thing is that I'm going to record it, and then I'd like for you to write me a letter or write me something or send me a video saying, hey, this is how it turned out. And you just start
a review.
Library.
Or a
review.
Yeah.
So Google Business Profile, make sure you get that going. But yeah, that's huge. I think it's a great way to market, because I'm wondering, how do you market that? Well, you referrals, but to Howie's point, no, you have to market. You have to continually grow.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you
People
can
who
build
don't
out.
know you yet need to be able to find you on these, with
It's
these
not
clips
fair
and stuff like that.
to not share it.
Right.
It's not fair to not share. Let's make a t-shirt.
Yeah. Not fair to not share.
Yeah, it's not fair to
I
not
like
share.
that.
Fair to not
I
share.
like that a lot.
Yeah. So
Brought to you by the Mega Business Mixer.
right. I don't know what we're doing here. So, okay. So I think you got into this a little bit, but I just want to kind of hone in on it a bit. Is what's the client experience when they come to you and they say, okay, I want help with X, then what do you do? How does that process work? I know you touched on it, but I just want a clear roadmap.
So the client experience hiring me as a coach?
Yes,
Okay.
because they want to get a job and you're going to help them.
Okay, so you come to me, you tell me I need help. I don't even know. Let's just start from the beginning. The beginning would be, this is me talking to you. Oh, hey, Mark. Okay, great. You are having some problems with navigating your job. All right, number one, I first need to see the resume you currently have. You need to email that to me. Okay. So once they
And
email
then
me,
Mark says, I don't have a resume. I haven't written one in years.
Mark says, okay, that's fine. Then you and I need to have a conversation. I need to get to know Mark. I need to know about your career, your background, all your experience, to write it all down, to then create a resume for you, and maybe even a cover letter if you need one, okay? Because I do believe in cover letters. They're powerful for applying for a specific job you want to have. But that cover letter has to be written short, correct, and it can't be a whole life story.
I work well with others.
It's got-
It's like, okay, that's
and it can't be 5 pages long,
Right.
okay?
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
cover letter, not a book, okay?
right.
So we start there. Okay, he doesn't have the resume. We need to create one for you. So you and I will have a conversation. Why? Because I need to find out who you are, what's your background, etc. Write it all out. And even if you have one that's antiquated from who knows when, you can send me whatever you have. So we're going to start with resume creation. Okay, let's start there. We build the resume. Then I'm saying, okay, we need to build your resume. After we build the resume, you come back and tell me, I've applied at all these jobs and nobody's calling me, nobody's hiring me. Maria, what is my problem? Mark, here's your problem. As creating your resume, you had a lot of gaps. There were so many gaps. We have to kind of camouflage those gaps a little bit and explain. And I don't want to say camouflage in a bad way that we're covering up something bad.
Yeah, but you might have been consulting or volunteering at a
Absolutely.
nonprofit.
And nobody puts that
clarifying.
down. So there's just this gap. Nobody puts it down. So if you were maybe working on yourself, maybe you were self-studying, educating yourself, that's valuable information. It does belong on your resume. Oh, I didn't think I could put it on my resume because, do they really think that's valuable? Of course. It's self-development. It needs to be on your resume. So we cover that. Then we identify why you're not getting hired. What are you doing? What are you saying wrong in the interview? Maybe you're saying all the wrong things. Maybe you walked into the interview and, you just kind of looked defeated before you even stepped in. One thing I tell the client, a candidate, is when you walk into the threshold of that door, the interviewer, hiring manager, is looking at you.
Yeah, it's already started even before you think
even
it's
before you
yes.
think it started.
And these are
And
professional recruiters or hire people who hire.
These are
and
hiring-
they already know. They know if you're making eye contact. They see what you're wearing, how
Absolutely.
you walk in, what your
Head to
posture's
toe.
like. Yeah,
Head to toe. And if you want, and you're just standing there, and you're just kind of like coming in like that. Well, they're like, oh, well, this is going to be interesting. Let's see what they have to say. There's no energy to you. And I just read a quote that says, your energy introduces you before you even speak. Isn't that amazing? It's a
Yes.
quote that just came through my Instagram. I was like, oh, I like that. Your energy
gonna steal that.
introduces.
Let me write
Yeah,
it down.
your energy introduces you before you even speak. I'm thinking true because it's the way you carry
I think
yourself.
we all know that. I mean,
Yeah.
because when we meet somebody, before any words are spoken, there's a whole energy thing going
yeah,
on.
we know it, Mark. But most people don't check their own energy.
Exactly.
They think they're being energetic, and they're not.
Right.
I heard a mom say one time, I gave a talk. It was an inspirational talk. And she's like, oh, God, you're so energetic. And, I wish my kid was energetic. And and then I'm thinking like, you're not energetic. Where do you think your kid gets it from?
Yeah.
But they don't know that they're not energetic.
They
They
don't
just
know it.
could see that other people are not energetic.
Absolutely. So we're going to cover the resume. We're going to cover one-on-one session with me. We're going to see who you are. I want to see who you are. I want to try to find the weaknesses within you to then address them with you and say, okay, maybe you want to change these things. And is your profile up on LinkedIn? Do you know how many people do not have their profile up on LinkedIn? And, no, I don't. Or they have a picture of their dog or a flower or a sunflower or something
Right.
like that.
On LinkedIn, of all places.
This
Yeah.
isn't Facebook. Okay, this is LinkedIn. Okay,
it's not
and
TikTok.
or they have a picture of themselves golfing, or they're doing golf, or they're swimming, or they're jumping off a cliff or something. And I'm like, okay, but what are you trying to say here? You want to get hired. You know, you want to get hired. So I will look at their LinkedIn page and analyze it. And then I will give them insight on how to better create their LinkedIn page. We will talk about that. We will talk about ways that they know how to network in the navigating employment world, because I know how to do that. So I will teach them how to do that. How do you navigate a job on LinkedIn? I will show you because I have all those insights.
I have
See,
a quick
these
question.
there's so much content there.
There's a lot of
for
content.
there
YouTube.
is.
I'm not kidding, because people, and phrasing it that way, which
Yeah.
is, I can teach you how to navigate LinkedIn to help you find a job. It's more than what are the catchphrases or what whatever you're doing there, but it's actually activity that you're doing
there's
on
activity
LinkedIn.
in there, absolutely. And then people say to me, "Well, I'm very network. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm in a lot of networking groups, and I know where to send them. So I know where to send them or where not to send them. Well, you don't belong in that group. You should go over here. Just different things. And then we do a mock interview. We pretend, let's do a mock interview here. I'm going to ask you questions. You answer them.
Do you record that?
I have never recorded my mock
Need
interviews
to,
with them, but
because
I need to.
people can watch that back and go
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my
Yeah.
energy was really bad."
Yeah.
And
yeah.
everybody should sign a release that you can use the
Yes.
mock interviews
Absolutely.
and everything for.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question for you. It's a two-parter. Roughly speaking, and I know it depends on the candidate, but how much does it cost for somebody to come and get coaching from you to get a job? And are you allowed to then place that person in your placement side of your business and still collect from the corporation that hired them? I'm not going to call it double dipping, but I go, what a great way if you're coaching somebody and then you think of them like, oh my God, they would be perfect for this big company that I've placed people in.
So, yes, to your question, when on the recruiting side, when I did recruiting, strictly recruiting, which coaching is a piece of recruiting, okay, that comes with it. But when I did recruiting, the employer always paid the fee, right? So I felt at that time I did not need to do any kind of fee with the candidate because the candidate, it was someone I had contacted for a potential job because I found them on the resources I use to find candidates, okay? So obviously I wasn't going to bill them because the employer was going to pay for their hire once they got hired. Now, on the other side, if you want to have a coaching session, I call this a mini, let's get coffee together, let's do a little Zoom call, get your soda water, get your coffee, let's talk. That is going to be the nuances of where you are right now in your job search, where maybe you're not employed, maybe you are employed, and you have all these questions. So it's a 50-minute session. I'm going to charge $150 for a 50-minute session. This is what I call the discovery, just a discovery of where you are in your job search, whether it's a transition, whether it is you already have a job or you have an interview coming up and you really are not ready for the interview. Can we talk about it? Okay, so that's that. Now, there will be another package. I don't have the full dollar amount on it yet, which will cover maybe through the mini session, we will find out that really you belong over here because you don't have a resume, you don't have this, you don't have that, all the things you don't have. And I will recommend either you do this and then we move forward together working through this journey where I work side by side with you until you accomplish certain things that need to be checked off the list that you have. So that package, I don't have it completely solidified in pricing yet. We're almost done with that. But I can tell you there's a mini session that is just a normal mini session to let's get to know each other.
Got it. Okay. And then do you still do the recruiting or placement side of the business?
The recruiting piece of it, if I'm contacted by an employer that I already have an existing relationship with, yes, I will assist the employer on finding the candidate they want. I still do that. But that's not going to be the whole focus of my business as we
Right.
move forward.
Yeah, it just seems like such a natural that you have all these candidates that you're coaching and you're training,
Yeah.
and then your mind and all your experience would say, man, this person would be great at this company. Could you then leverage that to call the
I can.
company and say, hey,
Absolutely.
listen, I haven't recruited for you before, but I've been in the industry for 24 years.
Yes. 2 dozen
I'd
years.
like to, right, sounds more than 20.
It feels
right?
something like 2
So-
dozen.
and so...
2 dozen years.
Yeah, 24 years. If I bring you a candidate, I notice you have these jobs. And could I, and then sign an agreement with them where they would at
Yeah.
least pay you the recruiting fee?
Absolutely. I never would say no to that because
Right.
if I do have someone that I know XYZ company could use them, I'm definitely going to call. And that's another thing that they would be able to get from me as part of coaching.
There's so much more here,
Oh,
right? That
yeah.
we
There's
could
just
go on,
so
but we're
much
just out
to
of
say.
time.
I mean, there's always a lot to say. And then there's always the funny things that I have encountered during recruiting and interviewing candidates and them sending them on job interviews and going, oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, what
Really-
happened?
Did
What
you really say that?
I think what you're offering is a super valuable service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people need that. It's going to be a confidence booster. It's going to help sharpen
It's
them.
life-changing, Mark. It changes your career. It changes the life of your family. It changes what you
Everything.
make.
Absolutely.
You know, how you feel about yourself.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
really, it's what a cool industry, and the coaching side thing. It was very unique. You know.
And since you want to move towards the public speaking side of it and all of that,
One of these days, I don't know.
authority marketing kind of a situation that finding the right people to partner up with so that you can do these things in front of the right audience. It's exciting to me. I'm excited for your journey.
Yeah, it's quite a journey. It's always been a journey. And I never look at anything like, oh, that's so difficult. I really don't. I like to look at it and go, okay, well, let's try it. Let's do it.
It's a challenge.
You know?
It could be fun.
Challenge, you know?
Yeah. Well, what's going to be worse? You don't have a job yet anyway.
Oh, Howie, you don't want to say it like that. All right. So if folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
So if they want to get in touch with me, they can call my cell, which is 210-445-5777, easy cell phone, or they can email me to maria@marcalrecruiting.com.
All right. Love it. All right, Maria, we are out of time. We really appreciate you coming in. It was a great conversation, and I love the business model. I think that's
so do I.
definitely going to go somewhere.
Thank you.
All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast and catch a video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for this one. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you.